Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. Today we're going to talk about something which many of us can relate to, and that's called being motherwhelmed. Recently, I read a book by Beth Berry called Motherwhelmed, and I could so relate to it. But it also reminded me of another book written in the 1950s, The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan. So today we're going to talk about the feeling of overwhelm that a mom faces and what we can do about it. And you know what is interesting? That both these sources are from different times, but they connect in a way which is really relevant today. Motherwhelm has been going on for decades, and Frieden called it the problem that has no name. It's that feeling that where everything on paper looks to be perfect in your life. You have a family, you have a house, you have a car, you have food, but still something doesn't feel right inside. It is an emotional disconnect despite having everything that you need. And what most of us don't realize is that almost everyone around you has been motherwhelmed at some point in their life. And motherwhelm can come from many places. It can come from social media, it can come from a relative telling you that you're not good enough, or it can come from within yourself. Everyone has their own idea of what motherhood should look like, and they project it onto you. Or maybe you're looking at too much of social media and the perfect moms there and projecting it on yourself. And that judgment may make you feel that you're constantly doing something wrong or that you're not enough. And being motherwhelmed is what also leads to mom guilt. There are many reasons that you could feel guilty as a mom. One reason could be not spending enough time with your child. Another reason could be going to office. And a third reason could be not being able to give your child a healthy meal every day. It's like we're told what a good mother should be doing, but then we're not given the resources to actually do it. Beth Berry rightly said that in the old days it took a village to raise one child, but in today's day we are more isolated and we're doing it all on our own. And we've lost that sense of community and support that used to go into raising kids. And some women believe that we have traded one problem for another. That is the problem of having too much on our plate and too many people in our lives, to being independent and having not many people to lean on when we need it. We need each other to raise kids effectively. But somewhere along the way, we bought into this idea that we need to do it alone. And that's not realistic. And now we're so focused on proving that we can handle it all that we don't ask for help or build connections. And asking for help feels like a weakness when in fact you have to be really brave to ask for help. And reaching out for help is so important to steer you away from loneliness and isolation. Just having another person listen to you, or having that person who you can vent to, will help you feel so much better and will stop you from feeling alone. And shared experiences create a sense of belonging. And it is also important to understand the benefit of having a mentor, someone who's older and wiser than you, who's been through all of what you're going through or what you will be going through, will help you instead of having to figure out everything on your own. There's so much of wisdom to be gained from those who have walked the path before us. Now, how do we start shifting those narratives and making motherhood less stressful and less lonely? No, it's not only the physical tasks that drain you, but it's also the mental and emotional things that you're going through, where you feel that you're mentally at an overdrive with so many things that you have to think of and do for your entire family. So let's stop isolating ourselves from the community and start reaching out to other people for help and also helping them in return. Instead of shuttling your kids back and forth to appointments on your own, why don't you opt to carpool with another parent? Instead of rushing from one thing to the next without having time to even catch your breath. And the next point is to stop endlessly scrolling on social media and comparing yourself to this perfectly curated experience of motherhood that you see on social media, which many times, in fact most of the times, are not even real. And it makes you feel that you're not good enough or that you're not giving your best when in fact you are. Today there's so much information available to us through technology that leaves us feeling even more overwhelmed than we already are. And many of the times the advice there are conflicting and you don't even know who to believe anymore. And that leads to decision fatigue, where you could also end up feeling paralyzed regarding all the choices to be made. And the most important thing to understand here is this is a shared experience. You're not the only one who's going through it. Other mothers are going through the exact same thing too. Just knowing that may not make you feel better. So here's what we can do. Listen to the stories that you are telling yourself about yourself. For example, my house needs to be spotlessly clean every time. I cannot see my children's toys scattered around the room even for an hour. It's okay if you're tired and the house is in a mess. It's okay to leave it for one night, go to bed, wake up fresh the next morning, and work on it. Then, cooking organic, friendly meals for your children all the time and being an Instagram mom where you can upload your food on Instagram and people go, wow, but is that realistic? And does it take a toll on you or not? Don't set impossible standards for yourself which no one can live up to. And also ask yourself, is this based on external validation? And are you looking for external validation? Create your own version of motherhood instead of living someone else's expected version of motherhood. So now, what should we do and how do we overcome this overwhelm and burden that we feel? Find things that light you up. What gives you energy? What sparks interest within you? Even if it means letting go of some of those shoulds. I should clean the house right now. When we neglect our inner spark, when we try pouring from an empty cup, which at times we do, not only are you doing yourself a disservice, but you're also modeling unhealthy behavior to your children. It is so important to teach our children and show them that taking care of themselves are important too. Pursuing what ignites them and their passions are important too. It's about breaking those cycles of self-sacrifice and showing our kids that self-care isn't selfish, but is essential. We also need to remember that although being a mother is very important to us, that we are also individuals with our own unique wants and interests. It's about creating a motherhood journey for ourselves which feel aligned with our values. Also remembering that we are not just mothers, we're women, we're individuals with our own interests and likes. And when we embrace the uniqueness and wholeness of who we are, we also model to our children what it looks like to lead a wholehearted, authentic life. Thinking back to the idea of the problem that has no name, maybe the solution is giving it a name. It starts with acknowledging the feeling of discontentment and saying, hey, this is real, it's valid, but it's okay, and I'm not going through this alone. And then finding solutions to get over that feeling that you're going through. It's about letting go of the pressure of being perfect and embracing the messiness of this wonderful experience called motherhood. We've just scratched the surface and there's so much to be discovered about motherhood. So keep sharing your stories, reach out to me and stay connected.